everyone, welcome back to another Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer battle. This is going to be the forces of the Skaven versus Bretonnia. For my army, we have a front line of 4 basic clan rats. I don't have the shielded version, just the basics, because I can supplement their numbers with 2 plague priests that I brought. Both of them have the summoning spell. They are just here because I didn't take any real flanking units. I don't have any of their ranged units, so I knew I needed just a mass amount of numbers to try and deal with a possible Bretonnian backline of archers. So that's why I have these 2 plague priests instead of, you know, skirmishing, stalking forces of various kinds. They have a couple choices, but I did not take any of those. So we have double plague priest, also being led by Queek Headtaker. Honestly, not the best choice against especially Bretonnia, because they're not going to bring anybody on foot, but I just wanted to play as Queek, so that's why I brought him. That's it. There's no special reason to bring Queek in a Bretonnian matchup. I just wanted to bring him. But just to quickly go over what we have with him, we have the Dwarf Gouger, which increases his armor-piercing damage for 50 seconds, which is a pretty nice buff. Then we also have Trophy Heads, which is a very nice debuff for any enemy lords or heroes. This is a great buff, lowers his defense and melee attack for 36 seconds. It is excellent. I really do like this one. And then he has Verminous Valor, which is the thing that makes people like around him explode, and then he kind of runs away. We also have the Warp Shard Armor, which is going to lower enemies' armor by 18, which is also a nice little debuff that Queek has, but again, not necessarily the best lord to take, especially in a Bretonnian matchup, but he's still pretty cool, so I brought him. So that is our leadership. I have 2 Rat Ogres for some stopping power against Knight charges, and to assist our 4 Storm Vermin with Halberds. I went deep on the Halberd Storm Vermin infantry for this because I want them to protect our line of Warp Lightning Cannons. Well, I shouldn't say line, but we have 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, which are the bonus versus large, armor piercing, very good artillery. Skaven has great artillery across the board. I love them all. And that is going to be our army. 4 Storm Vermin to protect the back line. Rat Ogres go wherever they need to. They're pretty quick and they hit pretty hard. And then, of course, the Clan Rats and then our leadership. For the Bretonnian forces, we'll just kind of go down the line. Over here, we have the renowned unit, the Wardens of Montfort, which are the poison-dealing skirmish cav. And also, they look cool. I like the black and white colors that they have. No one ever really brings them that much, but they're neat. I haven't really used them myself, but it's neat. They have poison damage, which, you know, Bretonnia does not exactly have a ton of. So they bring that to the table. We also have a group of Knights of the Realm sneaking in through the trees, and then going down the line here, we have a total of 3 peasant mobs, 2 in this forest, 1 over here in that forest. We have 2 battle pilgrims, 1 right here, 1 on this side of the line, 2 of the foot squires here and here, 1 Grey Relique. Yeah, where is it? There it is. We have 1 Grey Relique to support their front line with an immunity to psychology and more to their morale, which is pretty big for, you know, Bretonnians. Typically, I don't know if this works super well against the Skaven, because there's not so many creatures that they have that brings fear and terror, which this thing is, you know, anti-fear and terror, but it's still nice to have a morale buff. So again, 2 of the foot squires. We do have a Damsel of Life with the Awakening of the Woods. I haven't seen the spell for a while, ever since they nerfed it. Because remember when this spell used to be broken? Dwellers Below, sorry, not Awakening of the Wood. Awakening of the Wood is the other attack spell in this. But then also Earthblood. But yeah, you remember back when the Dwellers Below got buffed and they could take out any unit that it hit? It was really insane. And then they nerfed it, and now not many people bring it anymore. But anyway, that's the 2 spells that they have. I press play here. They also have 3 Bretonnian peasants, bowmen with fire arrows. All 3 of them have the fire arrows. We have 1 group of basic spears back here, also a group of men-at-arms for polearms. I imagine to fight against any of my large creatures. And then the other peasant mob is there. Also, there are 2 advancing questing knights. So they have 1 Knight of the Realm and 2 questing knights for the Knights of Bretonnia in this battle. Over here, I'm going to start targeting the Wardens of Montfort because that is a real threat. They have a ranged component here that I can't really counter unless I just throw my Warp Lightning Cannons into them. I summoned 1 of our many Clan Rat summons, because again, we have 2 of these Plague Priests, and the only purpose is not for them to catch them. The purpose of this summon Clan Rat is just to take the fire. They're here to take the arrows and allow the Wardens to get shot at by the Warp Lightning Cannon, and prevent the Wardens from shooting into our Rat Ogres, our Warp Lightning Cannon crew, or anybody else, even like prevent fire from our normal Clan Rats. Getting a summoned cheap rat instead to take the hits is definitely a win for us there. So we're just going to be shooting at them, because right now, now I noticed the 2 Questing Knights. I don't think I switched fire yet, because they're going to be going into, it's kind of, you can't even see my markers because of trees. But they're going to be going into this forest over here and just kind of hiding for a bit. Knights of the Realm is still going to be over here. Oh, I forgot to mention, they are being led by King Lewin. My bad. Totally forgot to mention that. They're being led by King Lewin, and he is currently flying in this forest over here. You can see we've done some decent damage to the Wardens of Montfort. Not exactly the best target, but again, a lot of the better targets are just hiding in the trees right now, and so it's a good chance that my shots will be blocked by the forest. So I'm like, you know what, let's just weaken the Warrens of Montfort. They are an actual threat in this matchup because I have nothing else to really deal with them. I can't catch them. So we need to just kind of shoot them, or else like our rat ogres especially would just get pummeled because they have very low armor. So the Wardens can do really good against them. And I wanted to keep our rat ogres alive. So the rest of the Bretonnian main line is going to be forming up about like here-ish. Also in the forest and then out in the open with the 3 Bretonnian bowmen, I think are starting to target the Plague Priest. I think that's what they're going to be opening fire on. But I have no option here other than to charge. I can't just sit here or else I'm just going to get shot up. Oh, they're targeting my clan rats. So since we don't have any shields, we don't have any block chance, which is unfortunate, but I don't think that the Bretonnian peasants would focus clan rats for that much. I thought they would focus maybe the rat ogres. So maybe a misplay on not taking any shields because I just didn't think that they would be targeted. But they are. So we're going to charge in here to some foot squires with the Grail Relique. King Lumen is going to be flying his butt over here to deal with Quick Headtaker, who's charging up here with the Plague Priest. You have another Plague Priest over here. We have a heal going down from the Damsel of Life, who's going to be, I think, sitting right back here. She's going to be safe in the trees over there. Meanwhile, over here, my 2 Warp Lightning Cannons are still dealing with the Wardens of Montfort. I'm going to start bringing up our Rat Ogres here in a bit when the Wardens start shooting into their side. I'm going to be like, well, I'm going to bring them out of reserves, but we will keep these units back here protecting the Warp Lightning Cannon, because right now I don't necessarily need them in the front line. We are currently routing here, but I still have a lot of summons. You can see one summon going down on here to try and keep the Bretonnian bowmen busy and keep them from firing. Again, I have 2 Plague Priests that I can summon. Unfortunately, one is being targeted by King Lou and Leon Kerr. Right now, Queek is kind of busy dealing with the Foot Squires. He's really good at killing Foot Squires. He has abundance from his infantry, and you can see he's just kind of taking them by himself along with the help of the Plague Priest. Sending one of the Rat Ogres down here to, again, assist with the Foot Squires. The other Rat Ogre is going to be coming around here as well. The Knights of the Realm ended up charging one of my clan rats through their own battle program, so they did manage to rout my clan rats there. And now they're going to be trying to swing around and get a nice rear charge on my Rat Ogres. The 2 Quest Knights are still back here, but I think they're going to be pulled out here very soon. But they're going to join a fight over in this area instead of harassing my Warp Lightning Cannon, probably because they noticed that there are a lot of Storm Vermin still here. I'm pulling 1 Storm Vermin out of the formation to try and pincer these Knights of the Realm. So they did get a nice rear charge, doing a lot of good damage to our Rat Ogres, but in return, I am now, sandwiching the Knights of the Realm between our Rat Ogres and the Storm Vermin, so that's really good for us. This Plague Priest gets routed by King Lewin, who is now engaged in a fight against a whole group of Rat Ogres, the Plague Priest, and Quick Headtaker. So this is actually pretty good for us because Rat Ogres deal a lot of good damage, so we're just going to take this fight with our 2 leaders and then the Rat Ogres. Over here, the Dwellers Below is going to hit, and our Storm Vermin do take some amount of damage, but the thing is, they throw their Quest Knights in there as well, and when I notice that the Quest Knights are getting out of the forest, I throw in another Storm Vermin. So now it's like, it was like, what was it? It was like Rat Ogres, Knights of the Realm, Storm Vermin, Questy Knight, Storm Vermin. It was just like a massive sandwich of Knights and Storm Vermin. But you can see here, one of the Quest Knights is actually going to get pulled out, and I believe they're going to start heading up to my Warp Lightning Cannon. I still have 2 Storm Vermin in reserve that I am keeping them there in case the Knights decide to peel away from the front line. I need to keep them back, although it looks like I'm actually moving these forward. Maybe because they're so close, I decided just, why not? So disregard what I said, I have 1 unit of Storm Vermin in reserves. The others I ended up sending after these Quest Knights, starting to destroy the Quest Knights with the Warp Lightning Cannons, and you see both Quest Knights are going to be pulling back over here. I think they're going to try and find attack vectors in there and then through here. I think is where they're going to go. I'm going to try and respond with my Storm Vermin here. I'm going to pull a Storm Vermin, I think, from the front line over there as well. Meanwhile, we won the fight against King Lewin, as you probably saw. I didn't talk about it, but we did win. Where is he? He's routing off. There he is. He routed off over here, but he is coming back from routing. Quick Headtaker and the Rat Ogres managed to destroy him for the most part. So we're going to be able to block 1 charge with the Storm Vermin, block the other charge with this one, then they're going to pull it out again. At some point, the Knights try and hit this Warp Lightning Cannon at some point. So Clan Rats coming back online. The Bretonnian peasants are routing, coming back. We have the Plague Priest over here that was routed from King Lewin. They came back from routing here, summoned some Clan Rats. There's another group of Clan Rats going again into Bretonnian peasants. I'm just keeping my Plague Priest summons constantly harassing the Bretonnian peasants so they can't really get much work done because most of our army is weak to these fire arrows, so we need to keep them busy for as long as possible with a bunch of summoned Clan Rats. You can see the Damsel of Life is chasing up this Plague Priest. My other Plague Priest is still basically okay because he was fighting next to Quick Headtaker and these Rat Ogres. But we still have both Plague Priests, we still have all the leadership intact, more Bretonnian peasants coming back from routing. These Foot Squires are just kind of sitting here, so I'm deciding not to engage them because I think my opponent has forgotten about them because they're sitting in the forest. Meanwhile, King Lewin is going to come back, and I think I'm going to start targeting him again with the Warp Lightning Cannons. So back here you can see, actually what you missed here, unfortunately, is the angle that these questing knights attacked. They went wide and then charged in, but I was aiming at them, so the warp lightning cannons were facing them. So the charge, what happened is that they all charged into the actual engines and not into the crew. So the crew didn't take a lot of damage on the initial charge, so it kind of allowed them to stay there a little bit longer and get another shot in or something. But it was just kind of a funny thing that I thought was something you don't really think about. When you charge into a artillery crew, you're not thinking about your artillery being blunted by the actual engines themselves, but these things are so big that they all just got stopped. And it was kind of funny because the charge did absolutely nothing to the actual crew. But eventually, over time, they did kill the crew in melee. We did catch up to them with a Stormvermin and started routing off this questing knight. The other questing knight, I think, also routed off in a fight over here at this point. So right now, we have King Lewin the Yonkeur, who is trying to deal with the clan rats that were harassing their peasant bowmen. The Damsel of Life is also still alive, but King Lewin is pretty low. We still have Quick Head Taker, Double Plague Priest, Rat Ogres here. We have another group of Rat Ogres. I think they routed and are going to be coming back. I don't remember where they routed. I think they routed off into this forest over here. We still have all 4 of our Storm Vermin, I believe. 2 are up here dealing with the Knights. The other 2 are up here dealing with the remains of the front line of Bretonnians. The Foot Squire will come into combat here sooner or later. But here you can see, there's the other Quest Knight. We dealt with them there, and we're dealing with the Battle Pilgrims. So that is the current situation. The Men-at-Arms with the pole arms do not have a real chance against all this leadership right there. And the enemy is trying to do whatever they can to get their Bretonnian peasants to fire, but with the double Plague Priests, it's just hard because we're just constantly summoning. There goes our Warp Lightning Cannon into the Warp King Lewin again. We're just constantly summoning clan rats and just throwing them at these poor peasants who just want to sit there and fire at our units. So they're targeting the Rat Ogres again, a good choice because of their low armor. I don't know if I summon another clan rat or not. At this point, I think I'm low on my Winds of Magic and on my summons. But the leadership is still just doing what they can. They're very slow. They're not really mobile, so I can't really like chase King Lewin around the map. So we're just kind of taking whatever fight that we can and try to weaken their forces overall. Here comes that Foot Squire. My other Rat Ogre unit that did route over here has come back from routing into these peasant mobs, and we're going to reroute those. Meanwhile, back here, the Spearmen at Arms managed to actually maneuver all the way back here and onto my second Warp Lightning Cannon. Unfortunately, I was slow to react to this. I was dealing with another Foot Squire over there. So I'm going to be slow to react to this, and they're actually going to route off my Warp Lightning Cannon crew because of how slow I was to micro my Storm Vermin into these Spearmen. So good work for the Spearmen. They're doing a lot of good job there for those peasants. Meanwhile, the Damsel of Life is back up here in the front lines trying to support the Foot Squires. I think I moved. Yeah, there we go. Queek is now on the hunt for the Damsel. My Plague Priest, I'm now sticking on the Peasant Bowman because I think I've run out of summons at this point, or Winds of Magic, one of those two. So now I need to actually throw their bodies themselves into the peasants to keep them from firing into my units. Rat Ogres are going to come over here onto the Damsel of Life and try and assist Queek Headtaker in taking her down. We have more Storm Vermin coming back from over here who were chasing the Foot Squires. And you can see my Warp Lightning Cannon got routed by the Spearmen, but our Storm Vermin are now on the Spearmen. So it's going to be a pretty easy fight for the Storm Vermin to win. And still just chasing off the Peasant Bowman. King Lewin is coming back, but unfortunately at this point, the balance of power shifts totally into our favor, and that is going to be a shatter for the forces of Bretonnia. A lot of talking. So I think the Double Plague Priest really shut down a big chunk of their offensive power there, just continually harassing those poor peasants. And all of the knights were sent to kill off our Rat Ogres or our artillery, but we just brought so much anti-large that it was really hard for the knights to do much in that situation, which it should be. If you bring 4 Storm Vermin, that's really, you're bringing them to limit the effectiveness of the Bretonnian knights. And you know, it's one of Bretonnia's hardest counters. They either go like full peasant army and super wide and try and get like veteran peasants, or you know, they risk being countered by a bunch of anti-large. And in this case, we kind of countered them. Although they didn't put too much money into the knights, really. Just 3 knights is not too much, but it's a good amount. They still got some work done too. But yeah, so I found the Storm Vermin with halberds to be pretty effective. Still don't really see a big reason to bring the Storm Vermin with the shields. I still think they are overpriced for what you get by quite a lot, but the halberd version is still pretty solid. Queek Headtaker, not his ideal matchup, but he did a lot of work against the Foot Squires. He brought down the Damsel. He did help bring down King Lewin with a group of Rat Ogres and a Plague Priest nearby. So it was fun to just have Queek Headtaker in there. But anyway, good game to a Rabin Macaw. Let's go watch a cinematic view of the battle. These brave peasants. I love that there's a dude just carrying a skull to make this look like an actual knight on a horse. It's just ridiculous. Everything about this unit is ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing. Yeah. Take that, Dark Elf Tents. You suck. Tweak coming in with a good entrance. God. Clan Rats did not last long in that engagement. Knights of the Realm. It was a nice move. It's nice rear charge on the Rat Ogres. It's just, you know, big Stormvermin came in. And then the Quest Knights came in. And then more Stormvermin came in. Oh, well, goodbye, Lewin. I was going to come over here to watch you, but it didn't last long enough. Now we're just going to beat up this dead body on a fake horse. We're like, nope. Where's those knights at? So here's that charge I was talking about. It's like we turned the vehicles or the warp lightning cannons around just in time. The crew kind of start. I guess they did get a charge on these guys, maybe. Like, look, like most of their charges just stopped by these things. And I thought it was just great. But then they do get into the crew here, and then the crew starts dying. But it was still pretty funny. Also, maybe some friendly fire going on there. God, so many rats. It's a beautiful sight. Oh, Lewin! From downtown. I think Queek should be over here somewhere. Or did we already beat up the damsel? We already beat up the damsel, I'm not sure. Oh no, there she is. And here comes Queek. Oh, he's coming. This is not where a damsel wants to be. And then rat ogres. God. And then there we go. It's a bad place for her. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Take care.